Welcome back. This is part 2 of this night dive, deep ocean scuba diving painting. And we left off where we've got the background in, the diver. We've already worked in a beam of light from the flashlight, and we left off really blending out and working in the silhouetted bubbles to give some motion to the painting. And so we'll pick up from there. So really adding layering to these bubbles is the key. So that first layer, we really blended it out well with a dry brush, scrubbed it in, rubbed it with our finger. And once that dried, we're going to add a little bit darker and a little bit more defined clumps of bubbles. Stick to the same thing, keep it narrow near the head, taper and widen as you get near the top of the canvas. But as we add each layer, these 3 or 4 layers to these bubbles, we'll slowly get darker and smaller with our formations of bubbles. So just keep that in mind as you're adding these. And then by the time you do this a few times, they'll look very realistic. Now at this stage, you can add some moisture to your brush. And that moisture, you're going to get cleaner dots of pigment, cleaner dots of color. So you're going to have more defined borders, more defined circles and shapes and bubbles. And it's not going to be as scrubbed or blended out as the other portions. And this is going to be a nicer effect and add layering to those bubbles. So wetting your bristles for this final layer, bringing the tip of that brush to a point, and then adding some selective darker dots of bubbles on top of those clouds that you worked in will really help. Here you can just add some darker areas randomly throughout the back and head and leg, just to add some variation in the shading, and that type of stuff helps with realism. Here I'm using a wet brush, well, moist. It's not dripping wet, just moist bristles, and then just a little bit of black. And on the head of the diver, that back flipper, back leg, top of the tank, and even the regulator tube, try to blend out that clean border on any of those portions of the body. You don't want a clean really, really crisp border on really any of this diver's shape or silhouette, because that's not reality. It will be a little bit blurry. It's going to be in the murk and the gloom. And if you blur everything out a little bit, especially that back flipper, it's going to help quite a bit with just the overall effect. So that's a pretty important step right there. So for the final touch, we have our same blue we've been using mixed up, and just give a mist to everything. And then that central glow. Try to cover up some of that diver's body. Try to cover up more of the back than the front, because the front of the diver is going to be facing you. It's going to be a little bit closer. The back of the diver won't be as easily seen. A lot of those bubbles will have a blue tint to them, so try to cover some of that up. Give the beam of light a light misting, but again, around that border, that diver's body, that central glow, try to cover up the back of that diver and that back leg and back flipper, and then that will just set everything back into the water and into the darkness, and that'll help a lot with the mood of this painting. So that's what I'm doing here. It's just setting everything back. So thanks for watching, and that's how you can paint a night diver like this. This is a tricky painting, but definitely doable. So good luck with yours, and I'll see you in the next video.